Per the State of California Executive Order N2920, this meeting is being held telephonically. All public comments were received either by email or via voicemail, as noted within the agenda. Council, please mute your microphones until called upon for comment or vote. Mayor, I'm now passing the mic over to you.
Thank you, Ashley. I'll now call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mayor Smith?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Davies?
Here.
Councilmember Wiggins?
Here.
Councilmember Pogencord?
Here.
Councilmember Scrivener?
Here.
City Treasurer Curry?
Here.
City Clerk Marsh?
Here.
All elected officials are present telephonically.
Thank you. If Pastor Mike Safford comes online, we'll take his invocation at any time. At this time, though, we will do the pledge to the flag. Ready, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll go on to the consent agenda. All items listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine and non-controversial by city staff. Consent items will be considered first and may be approved by one motion if no member of the council or audience wishes to comment or ask questions. If comment or discussion is desired by anyone, the item will be removed from the consent agenda and be considered in a listed sequence with an opportunity for any member of the public to address the city council concerning the item before action is taken. Were there any public comments regarding consent agenda items that should be removed?
There were 0 comments received by email and 0 by voicemail.
Thank you. Would you poll the council, see if they have any items to remove?
Councilmember Pogencord?
Thank you.
Councilmember Pogencord, are there any consent agenda items you'd like to remove?
None for me, thank you.
Councilmember Scrivener?
None for me, thanks.
Councilmember Wiggins?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Davies?
No.
Mayor Smith?
And none for me. Do I have a motion to approve consent agenda as presented?
So move.
I will second it.
Thank you. I have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Pogencord? Councilmember Scrivener? Councilmember
No.
Scrivener, you may be on mute.
No, I'm not. I'm so sorry. What was the question?
Oh, I'm sorry. This is the roll call vote for the consent agenda.
Okay, I'm sorry. I have no objection to the consent agenda.
Councilmember Wiggins?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Davies?
Yes.
Mayor Smith?
Yes.
It was a 5-0 vote for approval of the consent agenda.
All right, thank you. Audience, oral and written communications per State of California Executive Order N-29-20. Do we have any public comments?
There were 0 comments received by email and 0 by voicemail.
Thank you. Item number 4, City Tehachapi Records Retention Schedule. Our Administrative Manager, Ashley Whitmore, will now give the report.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. A quick background for you all on records management. The purpose of records management is to ensure that information is available when it's needed. To do this efficiently, records must be identified, organized, maintained, and then documented when destroyed. It improves customer service and increases staff efficiency. Now, on June 5th, 2000, the city adopted the Secretary of State's Local Government Records Retention Guidelines, dated August 1999. Although this records retention schedule was sufficient for the needs of the city at the time, with the changes in technology, it's become severely outdated. So for the past year or more, the City Clerk's Department has been working to create a records retention schedule suited to fit the needs and functions of the City of Tehachapi, including reference to electronic document management programs. These systems include our financial software programs, public safety programs, asset management programs, building and inspection programs, business license programs, and an electronic document management system for all other paper documents. This is not to say that paper documents will disappear, but instead our retention schedule will now account for the new technology. Additionally, the records retention schedule will now be a living document, and it's staff's intention to review the schedule annually and update it as necessary. The new retention schedule is within your agenda, and it now fits the specific needs for each department and the requirements for those departments. So it's staff's recommendation that the council adopt a resolution repealing resolution number 23-00 and adopt the city's records retention schedule. Happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Thank you. Actually, were there any public comments?
There were 0 received by email and 0 by voicemail.
Thank you. Would you poll the council, see if they have any comments?
Sure thing. Councilmember Pogencourt?
Thank you.
Councilmember Scrivener?
None for me, thanks.
Councilmember Wiggins?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Davies?
None for me.
Mayor Smith?
And no comments for me. Do I have a motion to adopt the resolution repealing resolution number 23-00 and adopting the City of Tehachapi records retention schedule?
I'll make that motion that we adopt 23-00 of the Tehachapi records retention schedule.
I'll
For
second that.
clarification, we'll be repealing resolution 23-00 and adopting
All right.
the City of Tehachapi records retention schedule.
I'll repeat that. I'll adopt the resolution repealing the resolution number 23-00 and adopting the City of Tehachapi records retention schedule.
Thank you.
I will
We have a
second
motion
those.
and a second by Christina. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Pogencourt? Councilmember Scrivener?
Yes.
Councilmember Wiggins?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Davies?
Yes.
Mayor Smith?
Yes.
It was a 5-0 vote to adopt a resolution repealing resolution number 23-00 and adopting the City of Tehachapi records retention schedule.
Thank you. Item number 6, disbursements and bills for RSI Petroleum.
Mayor Smith, this is Councilmember Davies. I need to recuse myself because I'm an employee of RSI Petroleum.
All right, thank you. We let the record reflect that. Were there any public comments on this item?
There were 0 comments received by email and 0 by voicemail.
And would you poll the rest of the council for any comments?
Councilmember Pogencourt? Councilmember Scrivener?
None for me, thanks.
Councilmember Wiggins?
No.
Mayor Smith?
And no comments from me. Do I have a motion to approve the disbursements and bills for RSI Petroleum?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Pogencourt? Councilmember Scrivener?
Yes.
Councilmember Wiggins?
Yes.
Mayor Smith?
Yes.
It was a 4-0 vote to approve the disbursements and bills for RSI Petroleum with a recusal from Councilmember Davies.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Davies, are you back with us?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Item number 8, the 2020/2021 mid-year budget adjustments. Our Finance Director, Hannah Chung, will now give the report. Hannah?
Thank you, Honorable Mayor Smith and council members. The item before you tonight is 2020/21 mid-year budget adjustments. The mid-year budget adjustment process is now completed, And in comparison to the 2021, the original budget, the anticipated decrease in citywide fund balance with mid-year budget adjustments is $473,687, as shown in the table. Additionally, an $83,091 fund balance increase is expected for landscape and lighting district and drainage assessment district, total together. So, and then I will briefly go over the variances summary, which is included with the staff report. Unless there is objection, I will only highlight the significant line items. So in general fund, on the revenue side, the property tax, sales tax, TOT, and motor vehicles, and the several grants that has contributed in the revenue increase. The most notable thing is sales tax. So because we have budgeted very conservatively last year, we are anticipating 270,000 increase. And this is mostly from Walmart and online sales locations from the county. And also TOT, 103,000 increase is expected. So it's motor vehicle license fee in lieu. Actually property tax. This is more of the property tax than motor vehicle. It's an in lieu tax, 120,000 increase. And another the notable increase is the COVID grant the city has received. This is from the CARES Act, and then we are anticipating another grant from American Rescue Plan, which will be coming up soon. So we have received 614,000 during. Actually, we received this whole amount during this fiscal year. And also, against this grant, we have the natural disaster plan related expenditure was 166,000. The difference was we used the police department salary, which was allowed by CARES Act. And so the next item is the city received the state grant, ESPS, and we received 300,000, and to date we spent 206,000. And there's a personnel cost increase of 199,000 on the expenditure side in general fund, but mostly it is covered by a COVID grant. And the next line, the natural disaster plan, COVID-19 related cost was mentioned earlier. And then the next item is the police vehicles, 186,365. Actually, council has approved during the council meeting, so this is not a new item, although I have to add it to the mid-year. And then the general fund is transferring approximately $54,000 more to airport fund after during the mid-year, the budget adjustment, and also $195,864 to LLDs, which is landscape lighting district, the fund shortage. So, as in the beginning of staff report, I have mentioned that there is a $83,000 increase in LLD landscape lighting district fund balance. This is from mostly from the fund transfer from general fund. And I am not going to go over capital projects except one, because mostly it is all 100% timing related. Only one item that I would like to note is the second line, which is traffic signals regional fund, will pay $470,730 to Walmart Walmart has done a lot of improvement for the city, and now as the project has completed, based on the agreement the city had with Walmart, city will be reimbursing the Walmart 470 plus some other project from water and sewer fund. So unless there is any questions, I would like to move over to water fund. Hearing none, I will go with water fund. So in this water fund, we are looking at 72,000 increase for the state of sales of the retail water, and we are, between water connection fee and the water right mitigation reduction, we're looking at over almost 430,000 reduction in the revenue side from the fees. And then on the expenditure side, the bad debt expense, 67,260. This is total 3%. I just put the 3% of total billing outstanding as of today. I plugged in because there are, we do have, since we are not shutting any water off, we are not allowed to, by the state, a city is prohibited shutting any water off during this COVID pandemic period. So we are looking into substantial write-off, when all these pandemic thing is over. So that's, I just plugged some expenditures in. And then as council approved, we plugged 510,000 for purchase of water rights. That is already approved by council. I am going to move to sewer fund. So same as water fund, we are anticipating substantial reduction in connection fees. It is also mostly timing of the development, and 560,000 approximately reduction is. And then I'm going to jump to expenditure side. Again, I have plugged the bad debt expense of 64,500, and the groundwater sustainability project, we are looking at additional 107,000 by the end of this fiscal year to spend. And then I am going to skip the refuse fund because the in and out of refuse fund from between revenue and expenditure is net zero change, and so is transit. So we are going to skip to airport fund. In airport, like as I have mentioned, from general fund, the revenue increase from by fund shortage, general fund subsidy is 53,788, and airport fund also received the FA, from COVID-related, the grant, 30,000. And on the expenditure side, one of the substantial item that we have included was property acquisition of a hangar purchase, and I believe the council also approved this already. With all that, the overall citywide fund balance change is 473,687 reduction. As you can tell, mostly this is from the connection fee related revenue. So that is very much of timing in development world. So that's something that, a lot of times it is such a wild card. So with that, staff would like to ask council to approve 2020-21 media budget adjustments as presented. Is there any questions?
Were there any public comments on this item?
There were 0 comments received by email and 0 by voicemail.
Thank you. Would you poll the council for any questions?
Councilmember Pogencourt?
Thank you.
Councilmember Scrivener?
none for me, but thank you, Hannah, for that thorough report.
Thank you.
Councilmember Wiggins?
The only comment that I have is that I understand the state's concern for people not wanting to get their water turned off during the pandemic, but they have no involvement in it. We're the ones who have over $120,000 in bad debts, and I don't see the state stepping up to help cover any of that. Just a note.
Cool, Susan. So for the low-income hardship, they may get support from the county. So I just plug that money in just to secure. I do not want to have surprise at the end of the pandemic and have upside down and right there. So hopefully it's not going to be as bad as what I have anticipated, but I have to play safe. So
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mayor Pro Tem Davies?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Mayor Smith?
No, great. Very good review of midterm, Hannah. I appreciate everything you guys do. And as always, we estimate conservatively so that we're not surprised. Thank you again.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Do we have a motion to approve the 2020-2021 mid-year budget adjustments as presented?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
I'll second.
We have a motion and second. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Pogencord?
Yes.
Councilmember Scrivener?
Yes.
Councilmember Wiggins?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Davies?
Yes.
Mayor Smith?
Yes.
It was a 5-0 vote to approve the 2020-2021 mid-year budget adjustments as presented.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 9, this is a TextMyGov launch. This is an information-only item. Our community engagement specialist, Key Budge, will now give the report. Key?
Thank you, Mayor Smith and council members. TextMyGov is going to launch this week. Very excited about it because we're constantly looking at ways that we can better communicate with our community. So not only push out information to the public, but also make communications from the public to the city easier. So over the past year, we've been in contact with TextMyGov, who can provide us with the ability to give our community a local phone number to send text messages directly to us utilizing keywords that we set up. So 81% of Americans text on a regular basis, and there's more than 6 billion text messages sent each day. So this gives us an opportunity to start to reach even a younger demographic, which is what we want to do, is make it easier for everyone to communicate, but especially we want to start grabbing the young adults and make it an easy process for them to communicate with the city. So giving the community the ability to text that message and questions to the city without having to go through an automated phone line or search for our request tracker that's on our website homepage, it just makes it a little bit quicker and easier. As I can include myself in this, I like things to be a little bit easy, and if it's at my fingertips, I'm going to use it. So, for example, if you would like to, and you've got your cell phone handy if you're not using it here for the meeting, you can text the word hi to 661-441-3844. That's our dedicated phone number. So if you don't do it right now, you can do it later tonight, and you'll be a part of our system. And you'll get a response, a welcome message, and you'll be prompted to either contact or report an issue, and then it's a single word text back. So say it's a pothole, you text pothole. You'll automatically get the request tracker information on how to report a pothole. So we've just made it a little bit easier for the community to report that pothole. Or maybe they want the agenda for a council meeting. They can type in agenda, and then we'll send them the link to our website so it pops up right on their phone. So what we've done is we've actually been able to by doing this, enhance our request tracker, which is our current system that we have, experience for the customers by letting them utilize text messaging to get that message to us. And it goes through the same process. Request tracker does the exact reporting, sending it to the proper departments regarding the issue. So we haven't added any extra steps on the back end. We're just trying to make it easier. Now, the other thing that's nice about TextMyGov, it allows us to send out notifications to the community, like, say, farmers market, non-emergent. Chief Krager has the Nixle system, and he's able to utilize that for public safety and emergency type messaging. This allows us to use non-emergent communications with the public if they choose to opt into it. And if you'd like to opt in to get the messages, all you do is type in the word Tehachapi to the number 91896, and now you're opted in to our system to receive push notifications or whatever we decide that we need to send out at a certain time. Kind of a cool note, so Thursday we launch. We will be the first government agency in Kern County to utilize TextMyGov, and we become the 8th agency in California to make it available to their community. So that's, to me, that's pretty exciting. As far as fiscal impact, no immediate impact for this current budget. The impact is $2,500 annually for each of the next 2 years, and it'll be a part of the upcoming general government budget. Our plan allows us up to 50,000 text messages. And TextMyGov, and as part of the negotiations, I got them to waive the $1,000 setup fee and also provide the balance of this fiscal year free of charge. And they also provide unlimited technical support to us. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Keith. Were there any public comments on this item?
There were 0 comments received by email and 0 by voicemail.
And would you poll the anxious comments from the council, please?
Councilmember Pogencord? Councilmember Pogencord, we're not able to hear you if you might be on mute.
I have no questions. Thank you.
All right. Councilmember Scrivener?
No anxious questions from me.
Councilmember Wiggins?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Davies?
Yes, I think this is great. I mean, this is where we're going in the world, where everybody texts and everybody has so many things going on. Example, the pothole. You know, you always think, okay, I'm gonna email somebody about that pothole, and we don't. I think this just gives another way that we can communicate with our city, with all our residents. We just got to make sure that we follow through when we do receive a text regarding a pothole or anything. We have all this technology, and if we don't follow through with it, I think it'd be a shame. But I think I'm really happy for it. I think it's a great thing that we're doing. Thank you.
Mayor Smith?
Just a couple. Very anxious. This is really cool, Key. I think we're all very proud that Tehachapi is first in Kern County, leading the way as you are, and 8th in California. That really says something for you guys. So thank you very much. Now, on the when you put in, say, for a pothole, and it goes to the request tracker, does it sends it to the link that you would be if you were on your computer at this point?
Yes, correct.
So the request tracker system will just be incorporated. This will just be a portal into that then, correct?
Yes. The link to the request tracker for the pothole reporting will come directly to your text messages. Open it up. You can populate it right there, hit send, and then it'll go through its normal course of reporting to us.
I think it's pretty cool. Now, for as far as our outreach, are we going to put it in the water bills, other than not just the paper, because not everyone gets their information from the paper anymore. So do we have an outreach like in the water bill?
Yeah, we'll put together a PR campaign to get that information out. We wanted to announce it first to you on council members, and then that's why we'll have the Thursday launch. We'd love to have you guys sign up with the numbers, so that way you can be first on board. There's only a handful of us that have been testing the system, but please feel free to log in, and we'll do a big media blitz and push beginning tomorrow.
Sounds good. So for us to send out broadcasts, they have to actually be signed up, correct? This is not like our emergency notification system with the police department or anything like that then at this point.
Correct. You have to opt in. You have to want in. You have to want into Chief Krager's Nixle system as well, but he utilizes that for urgent public safety messages at his discretion, and this will be for more general public, a separate type message. So maybe we have a road closure, or there's, the Public Works may tell us, hey, we've got to close down because of a water leak. We can send those notifications out utilizing this system, or something as simple as the farmer's market is open. And if someone wants to opt out, they say, you know what, I don't like getting these messages. All they have to do is just return with stop, and the messages will stop.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we've had all of our anxious questions answered, so we'll go on to item number 10. An introduction and first reading of an ordinance regarding video service providers. Our Economic Development Coordinator, Corey Costello, will now give the report. Corey?
Thank you, Mayor Smith and council members. For you tonight is the introduction of a ordinance for cable television franchise and state franchise video service ordinance introduction. The City of Tehachapi, as you might remember, has previously established an ordinance to franchise cable television and other utilities as well within our jurisdiction, including TV, internet, and video content. Since the last update in 1997, there have been some changes in the state of California which were intended to help promote competition and options for consumers within municipalities seeking internet and video content. The purpose of this ordinance is to exercise the city's regulatory authority regarding cable antenna television and other video and telecommunication services in the city for federal and state law, including what was adopted in 2006, known as the Digital Infrastructure and Video Competition Act, or DIVCA, and that established a state franchise system which is administered by the Public Utilities Commission for video service providers and internet, and then limited the city's regulatory and enforcement powers over state franchise video services. As a result of those changes, we're seeking to repeal current ordinance 97-03-634 and update Municipal Code Section 5.20 to reflect the attached ordinance as it relates to cable television and state franchise video service providers, in which internet service providers also fit in that as well. We're also, in addition to updating that language for state franchise video services, pursuant to Public Utilities Code Section 5870, Section N, the city can also establish a public educational and government access fee. So those that have received their state license franchise now must pay the City of Tehachapi a PEG access fee of 1% of the service provider's gross revenues to support that public educational and government channels consistent with federal law. So the fee is going to come to the city quarterly within 45 days after the close of each quarter. It's going to help support the development of government and educational programming aired on a dedicated City of Tehachapi government channel operated by the video service provider. I've attached the entire ordinance for review. This will repeal and replace the current ordinance and municipal code. As far as fiscal impact goes, the city is going to continue to collect 5% of the video service provider's gross revenue in alignment with the provisions of DIVCA, along with that additional 1% fee for the public educational and government programming, which is established via the updated ordinance. The additional 1% is anticipated to generate probably around $10,000 annually. It depends on the revenues of the service providers, and so that'll help fund development, equipment needs, and production of government programming for the City of Tehachapi. So the recommendation, this is an introduction, and I'll read the ordinance by title. Ordinance of the City of Tehachapi repealing Chapter 5.20 of the Tehachapi Municipal Code and ordinance number 97-03-634 in their entirety regarding cable television franchises and state franchise video service providers. And that it concludes my report, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Corey. Were there any public comments on this?
There was 0 received by email and 0 by voicemail.
And would you poll the council for any comments, please?
Councilmember Pogencourt?
It's my understanding that this is going to be through race. Is that correct?
Well, we currently have, the only franchise that we have via the state or otherwise right now is Spectrum, also known as Bright House. There are certainly others that are interested because as the community grows, there are opportunities. So it will apply to anybody who comes in to try to add competition to the market. So it could be race, it could be basically anybody else in line to bring those types of services to the city. So it puts us in line with the state, with DIPCA, and also allows us to collect 1% to help fund government programming, which we intend to put on a dedicated channel at some point.
Okay. Councilmember Scrivener?
Thank you, Corey.
Thanks, Corey. So if the cable bill is $100, it's going to be $1.
Yeah, this is a pass through. So whether or not that's a increase, that's on the providers. That's their business. So they're gonna, most likely that's how some of these fees are passed through. But there is a potential that could be that could be the case, or it could already be budgeted potentially as well. Especially for somebody new coming in, most likely they will they'll establish that with their rates when they establish rates for services.
Sure. I saw the 1%. I guess my question is, or comment is that going to amount to enough support for meaningful programming? Is this one of several revenue sources to provide for sustaining this service?
Yeah, we're not looking at entire productions of shows. We're not looking for cable access Wayne's World programming or anything like that. So we're just looking to help fund maybe ultimately live broadcasts of our city council meetings when we go back to that, or even a tape delayed broadcast where we can tape that and then it'll go back on, or any kind of public meetings or videos that we already produce now that go on social media can also be a part of that channel. And the channel doesn't have to be on 24/7. A lot of the times it just runs a slideshow of information in between live programs. So yeah, I think given the way that we produce content these days, and we're not looking for a live production show, this will fund a lot of that we're already doing and help get that to broadcast.
Great. That's great. Thank you, Corey.
Councilmember Wiggins?
No comments.
Mayor Pro Tem Davies?
No comments from me tonight.
Mayor Smith?
And no comments for me. So I'll take a motion to approve the introduction and first reading of an ordinance as read by title only, already by Corey. Do I have a motion?
I so moved. Pogencourt.
I'll second it. Davies.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Pogencourt?
Yes.
Councilmember Scrivener?
Yes.
Councilmember Wiggins?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Davies?
Yes.
Mayor Smith?
Yes.
It was a 5-0 vote to approve the introduction and first reading of an ordinance repealing Chapter 5.20 of the Tehachapi Municipal Code and ordinance number 97-03-634 regarding cable television franchises and state franchise video service providers, and replacing it with an ordinance that will establish public, educational, and government access channels and establish that video service providers pay a PEG access fee of 1% of the video service provider's gross revenues consistent with federal law.
Thank you. Item number 11, high-speed rail update, Bakersfield to Palmville. This is an information-only item. Our Community Development Director, Jay Schlosser, will now give the report. Jay?
Thank you, Mayor Smith and council members. I think you guys are all aware of the conversation we're beginning to have publicly, letting the public know the status of the Bakersfield to Palmdale section of the high-speed rail environmental impact report. So I'll try to be brief here, and instead, for our would-be listeners on YouTube, I would let them know that today we put on a press event to let the public and the press know about the current status of our discussions with high-speed rail as they relate to the city of Tehachapi. I know on our Facebook page that press conference that we had is publicly available, so I might direct folks there as well. And then, so in the way of background, briefly to talk about what was discussed today in our current status, the city's been working with high-speed rail for over 6 years now, discussing the potential impacts of high-speed rail, planning to run a portion of their alignment here through the city of Tehachapi. Initially, that alignment, known as the Bakersfield to Palmdale section, was slated to be last in the segments of construction of the rail line, but that may be changing as a result of a privately funded high-speed rail between Victorville and Las Vegas. And so the city is even more concerned now about this potentially occurring and making sure that if it occurs, it's done so in a way that mitigates its harm and impact to this community to the greatest degree possible. By way of background, about a year ago, we actually just a few days under a year ago, we produced a detailed letter response to the environmental impact report, environmental impact statement prepared by the High-Speed Rail Authority for this segment of the rail alignment. We had major concerns about numerous sections of that environmental report, and the notable ones are noise, aesthetics, or the way it looks to our community, and the socio and economic impacts of this project. And we recently, 2 weeks ago, had a conversation with high-speed rail staff. We've not received any response in writing, which they are obligated to do under CEQA law, but instead they had a meeting and they kind of went through our comments, and they did discuss certain items with us, but largely explained to us in that Zoom meeting in a friendly manner why none of our comments were worth additional mitigation or being addressed. That's not entirely fair. A few of them they agreed to, but the majority of the major ones they did not. So tonight, we're presenting this as an information item to put it on the record and to let you guys all know the big issues and concerns we have. In short, our primary concern is that the high-speed rail will have a blighting influence on our community. Things like noise, the way it looks, those will impact our small and quiet commuter community in major ways, both during construction and during operation. And we need high-speed rail to do the right thing and protect the citizens of this community if they're going to stick to the alignment they want through the city of Tehachapi. So from a noise perspective, we voiced concerns about noise produced from the tunnel entrance and exit in Capitol Hills area. We voiced concern about the impact to our new $100 million taxpayer-funded hospital. We voiced concern about the severe noise impacts to the Arabian Estates and Ash Village neighborhoods. That's the term they use when describing the noise impact to these communities. And we voiced concern about the noise to pretty much every resident in the entire Tehachapi Valley. Their noise study really didn't consider the way a valley might reflect and echo noise and how it might be captured in our windy community from time to time. It really just applied a very bland metric and dismissed concerns. Secondly, on the issue of aesthetics, we briefly talked about how significant the improvement is, how much earth is going to be moved in the construction of this rail alignment. The tunnel that exits in Capitol Hills will be 80 feet below the ground. And then there'll be a tall artificial embankment over Highway 58 and the Union Pacific Railroad tracks through town. And together they create both what I've termed the Panama Canal and the Great Wall, all in one alignment within our city limits. And I think it's going to be very noticeable to people both in this city and particularly on the hillsides outside of our city, but in our community. They'll forever have their viewshed changed by high-speed rail. And then from a socio or economic impact, big concerns for Ash Village and Arabian Estates. 80-plus homes are severely impacted by noise. Another 30 are highly impacted by noise. And only one side of the rail alignment are they proposing a sound wall, which, by the way, doesn't totally eliminate noise. It simply reduces it, changes it. So for the other side of the rail alignment, and frankly both sides, we're concerned about the blighting effect. If these single-family homes become unlivable because of the proximity to the noise, it's going to lead to blight, which is going to lead to crime and decreased property values. And this issue is largely ignored in High-Speed Rail's review. Ironically, or not so ironically, I guess maybe that's not the right word, frustratingly, they tout the economic benefit resulting from the new rail stations in Bakersfield and Palmdale in the same set of sentences in which they admit that there'll be impact to the city of Tehachapi. I do think they know better, but I don't really understand why they would think those two are linked. There's no benefit to the city of Tehachapi for this project. We talked to them about the fact that as a train town, we know a lot about how trains impact our community. And we offered some beneficial offsets for our community. And while the high-speed rail staff were very enthusiastic or positive about some of these suggestions we had, like putting a permanent visitor center here if they build the rail alignment to bring visitors to our community, they liked those ideas but refused to commit to any of them, which makes it pretty hard to believe they'll ever occur. And then lastly, I would just mention, and what we've talked about today is just feedback from our Zoom meeting with them 2 weeks ago. It felt a lot like the High-Speed Rail Authority was checking boxes, meeting their obligations under CEQA law to talk to us about these issues, but not really attempting to solve any of the problems that we've brought up. And that's, I think, our big frustration. It feels like a little bit like Tehachapi, and frankly, we know the city of Wasco and some other small towns along this alignment that are being impacted by the high-speed rail, that it sort of feels like the authority's opinion is that the little cities don't matter. And anyway, so that's roughly what we talked about at the press conference today, and that's the very rough synopsis of what our letter said and the status of our conversation. So I'll end my report there and just remind the community to head to our Facebook page or our city website, reach out to Key Budge, our PIO, if you've got additional questions. We're urging people to talk to High-Speed Rail and to your elected officials. They do have their environmental impact report is open for comment right now until April 12th. You can go to their website and use their email address there to let them know how you feel about it, and we're just trying to spread the word right now. So that concludes my report. Be happy to answer any questions.
Were there any public comments on this item?
There were 0 comments received by email and 0 by voicemail.
Thank you. Would you poll the council for any comments or questions?
Councilmember Pogencourt?
None. Jay, thank you for your and dedication to the project. I know there was a lot of reading involved, and I admire you for that, so thank you.
Councilmember Scrivener?
Just that I really appreciate the city's attention to this situation that is we don't have a lot of control of, but I know how vigilant the team has been about understanding where we can influence the process and raising awareness about the concerns that otherwise would have be just quietly developing. And so I want to applaud and encourage your continued vigilance on this and raising this for our community to be involved and to participate in the process and to put their comments on the record. And your leadership in hosting that press conference today was really important. So I just have been long concerned about this project before I was on the council as a citizen of California, and the deep needs for our infrastructure investment and seeing this situation develop to become increasingly concerning. So I really appreciate the continued attention and hope that we can just do whatever is possible to collectively come together with other communities to have a an impact on moving the needle, because I know this is an uphill battle and really a powerful entity that holds a lot of the cards. So I'm not sure what will come of this, but I think today was a step in the right direction. We did the right thing and we went on the record, and I am grateful.
Councilmember Wiggins?
I agree with Christina, and I just want to say that we don't have to roll over and play dead in these situations. Government is supposed to be for us, not against us, and I think that we need to become more vocal every day in the things that are going to affect us.
Mayor Pro Tem Davies?
No, I agree with the other city councilman comments that I think we need to be on our toes with this and don't let anybody try to sneak anything in on us. So I appreciate Jay and his team's work on this, and everybody at the City Hall. I appreciate everything that you guys do, especially on this right now. Thank you.
Mayor Smith?
And I would also echo the comments above from all the other council members. And thank you to staff, for Jay especially, for your 2,500 pages of reading on this thing. So thank you very much, and we're all behind you. So, and with that, we'll go on to City Manager's report. Greg?
Thank you, Mayor Smith. I have nothing for you this evening.
Then we'll quickly go to Councilmember Joan Bogencourt.
I got to unmute here. I'm sorry. I just want to comment on the fact that I appreciate the effort and the efficiency that Hannah and her team provide for our annual report. They do an excellent job. And Jay also and Greg for all their input and resourcefulness to the high-speed rail. Do we know when that would ever be completed, if and when? Do we have any idea?
If you'd like, I'll speak to that, Greg.
Yes, please.
Okay. Yes, that question was asked today in the press conference. The answer, Councilmember Bogencourt, is we're not really sure, but we think at least 5 to 10 years. High-speed rail has admitted that they don't have the funds to build the alignment from Bakersfield to Palmdale, but that they desire to do so. So I think 8 to 10 years is the minimum. Although I know that the state is busy petitioning for additional dollars from a more receptive federal government at this point. So that could be accelerated, I think.
Yes, it keeps going back and forth. We're having it, we're not having it, and that's kind of confusing, and it's going to be years before we ever see anything. So anyway, thank you. I appreciate it.
Councilmember Scrivener, anything for us tonight?
I just want to say, on this day after our important Easter holiday, in reflecting on all that we have to celebrate there, just grateful for the lower numbers we're seeing of COVID cases, the high numbers of vaccinations in our whole community and region, county and state, and just really hopeful that we are coming into a new season for everyone, and just want to take a moment to celebrate that after what has been a really challenging year for so many.
Thank you, Christina. Councilmember Wiggins, Susan?
No, I would echo that response. It's spring, but it's a spring that we haven't had for many years. The weather's getting better, but we're truly opening up, and people are coming out and rejecting the fear that they had and being able to just say, it's a nice day in Tehachapi. And I think that's wonderful.
Thank you, Susan. Mayor Pro Tem Davies, Michael?
No, I just want to tell everybody I appreciate all the hard work that they do for and behalf of the city. The other city council members, I appreciate your willingness to serve, and I appreciate everybody that works for the city and everything that they do for us. As a resident of this town, I hear nothing but good things. I just appreciate being part. I really do appreciate being part of this thing, and appreciate everybody's hard work. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Michael. Just a couple items from the most recent Kern COG meeting. I think that was on the 18th of March. That was after our second meeting. They mentioned litter removal on 58 and 202. Could someone, because I noticed a lot of activity out there, and I think it was in the papers regarding the the coordination with a group that's going to do that. Can anybody add a little bit more comment on that? Because it's looking really good out there.
Mayor Smith, this is Greg. Yes, so we're super happy about the litter cleanup. We saw a couple of vans and several people from a corporation. It's a nonprofit called Lincoln. And Caltrans District 9 has hired them with their own budget to help with the litter cleanup on Highway 58 and 202 in our region. So we're very, very happy about it. There's several sections of Highway 58 and 202 that cannot be adopted. They have a litter adoption program, as you're aware, and because of the proximity, the edge distance, those sorts of things. And we've been working with Caltrans District 9, Ryan Dermody, up out of Bishop with this specific topic for some time now, and we're happy to report that they have taken some action on that. It's only funded through this summer, but they are looking for additional funds to be able to continue that litter cleanup. And it does make a difference because, as you know, the Tehachapi area is, of course, very breezy or windy, and so litter is a chronic problem for us. So we want to thank Caltrans for their participation and noticing that it does need to be maintained on a regular basis.
Thank you. If you wouldn't mind somebody drafting a letter, and I could sign it on behalf of the entire city council, thanking them for their efforts out there.
We would be happy to do so. I spoke with Ryan and also sent him a thank you email, but we'd be very happy to draft a letter, and we'll have that ready for you tomorrow.
Okay, thank you very much. The other item they mentioned that we're going to get a couple more weather cams. One was going to be east of Broom Road and another one at the summit. Do you have any information that they've been installed yet?
No more than what you just said, Jay. I'll let you take it in a second, but I do know that Ryan and I have discussed that. He did report that those weather cameras are in the design, procurement, and installation phase, if you will. So I would, my last conversation with Ryan was they would be installed sometime later this summer and then be active and on the Caltrans website. So you could go to the website or their mobile app and look at real-time weather in the Tehachapi area. But I can get that specific date, and I'd be happy to, and get that to council tomorrow also. Jay, did you have anything to add to that?
No, I don't have any further information.
Well, that's okay. Whenever I just was bringing it up that they're in the works, and I think that's kind of cool that we'll be able to tune in. If you're working in Bakersfield and you want to see if you can get home, you might want to check the Broom Road camera. And coming the other way, or both, you might want to check the Tehachapi Summit camera. I know that when I've traveled to Seattle to see our daughter, we'll check the cameras at the Siskiyou Summit in the Siskiyous up in Oregon. And it can really make or break your day if you know what the weather is going to be at that point. So looking forward to a couple of increases. Now, do we still have a camera at the airport?
We do have a camera. Yeah, we do have a camera at the airport. a panoramic actually, and that's on our website. You can visit that, or no?
No, that is not open to the public.
Yeah, that's not open to the public. The only public camera that we have, actually not the city, is Friends of Tehachapi Depot, and that's attached to the depot, and you can look at a live feed with the railroad tracks and trains that pass by.
Right, I knew of those. Okay, well, this will be a point of interest for coming soon to our Highway 58.
There
so
you go.
With that's the only comments I had. So we'll now adjourn to closed session, and for information regarding the outcome of our closed session, please contact Ashley Whitmore at 661-822-22.